Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. Today, we're delving into a topic that touches every life yet is rarely fully understood: grief. In The Grief Cure, Looking for the End of Loss, Cody Delistraty offers a profound exploration of one of humanity's most challenging experiences. Picture this, a journey not just through the valleys of sorrow but towards a new understanding of how we can heal from loss. Delistraty, with his compassionate and insightful approach, unveils the complex layers of grief, providing readers with a roadmap to navigate through their darkest times. This book isn't just about coping, it's about transforming your experience with loss into a pathway for personal growth and resilience. Delistraty combines cutting-edge psychological research with heartfelt storytelling, offering tools and perspectives to help you not just survive, but thrive after loss. Whether you're grappling with the death of a loved one, the end of a significant relationship, or any deep sense of personal loss, The Grief Cure promises to guide you through the tumultuous landscape of grief with empathy, wisdom, and hope. Prepare to uncover new ways to heal and find solace as we explore this essential guide to understanding and overcoming grief. Prologue: The Weight of Loss. Imagine, for a moment, the weight of an unexpected loss. The world shifts beneath your feet, the ground you once trusted to hold you now feels uncertain and unstable. Cody Delistraty begins his exploration of grief from this very precipice, inviting readers into a space where vulnerability meets strength. In the prologue of The Grief Cure, Delistraty lays bare his own experience with loss, crafting an intimate portrait of what it feels like when the familiar becomes foreign and the predictable becomes chaotic. The prologue is a raw, unfiltered account of grief's onset. Delistraty's storytelling is vivid, almost cinematic, as he describes the numbing reality of a loved one's death. His words capture the visceral impact of loss, the silence that follows a life once filled with laughter, the emptiness of spaces now left behind, and the profound solitude that accompanies bereavement. This initial immersion sets the stage for a deeper exploration of how grief permeates every aspect of life and challenges our perceptions of normalcy. Chapter 1: The Genesis of Grief. In the first chapter, Delistraty takes us through the early stages of grief, a terrain marked by shock, disbelief, and profound sadness. His personal narrative intertwines with broader reflections on the nature of grief, creating a compelling exploration of its initial impact. He recounts moments of denial, where reality seemed too harsh to accept, and anger, where emotions felt like a tidal wave crashing against his inner shore. Delistraty's narrative style here is deeply immersive. He shares specific memories and anecdotes, painting a vivid picture of the disorientation that accompanies loss. He describes his struggles with everyday activities, how even mundane tasks became laden with the weight of his sorrow. Through detailed recollections and emotional introspection, readers are drawn into the heart of his experience, feeling the depth of his pain and the bewilderment that accompanies it. The chapter also introduces the central question of the book: can grief be cured? This question is not posed lightly. Delistraty acknowledges that while grief is a universal experience, its manifestations are deeply personal and varied. The quest for understanding and possibly alleviating this profound sorrow becomes a central theme, setting the stage for the exploration that follows. Chapter 2: The Search for Understanding. As Delistraty delves deeper into his journey, he seeks wisdom from a diverse array of sources. This chapter is a rich tapestry of philosophical, psychological, and spiritual insights. Delistraty engages with the works of prominent thinkers such as C.S. Lewis, whose A Grief Observed provides a poignant reflection on personal loss. Lewis's reflections resonate deeply with Delistraty, offering both comfort and challenge as he navigates his own grief. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, are scrutinized. Delistraty examines these stages not as a linear process but as a framework that might help illuminate his own experience. He discusses the limitations of this model, acknowledging that grief is often more cyclical and unpredictable than these stages suggest. Viktor Frankl's existential insights from his time in a concentration camp provide a different perspective. Delistraty finds Frankl's emphasis on finding meaning in suffering to be both enlightening and daunting. Frankl's assertion that we can choose our attitude in any given set of circumstances challenges Delistraty to consider whether meaning can truly be found in the midst of overwhelming sorrow. Delistraty's exploration of these diverse perspectives is not just academic, it is deeply personal. He reflects on how each thinker's ideas intersect with his own experience, grappling with their applicability and relevance. His engagement with these sources adds layers of depth to the narrative, offering readers a broader understanding of how grief has been interpreted across different contexts. Chapter 3: The Role of Memory. Memory serves as both a sanctuary and a battlefield in the wake of loss. Delistraty's exploration of memory in this chapter is particularly poignant. He describes the dual nature of memory, how it can be a source of solace as well as a reminder of absence. The act of revisiting old photographs, letters, and mementos becomes a ritual of both connection and confrontation. Delistraty delves into the bittersweet experience of holding on to memories. He shares stories of how certain objects or moments evoke vivid recollections of his loved one, bringing both comfort and pain. The physical artifacts of memory, the worn-out letters, the familiar scent of a once-loved perfume, become symbols of a past that is cherished yet no longer accessible. At the same time, Delistraty confronts the impermanence of memory. He grapples with the fear of forgetting, the anxiety that with time, the details of the loved one's presence might fade. This fear drives him to actively preserve memories, yet he acknowledges the inherent limitations of this effort. Memory is fragile, and the passage of time inevitably alters our recollections. In this chapter, Delistraty's writing is both tender and reflective. He explores how memory shapes our experience of grief and how it influences our attempts to find closure. His insights into the complex relationship between memory and loss provide a nuanced understanding of how we keep our loved ones alive in our hearts while also facing the reality of their absence. Chapter 4: The Search for Healing. The quest for healing is central to Delistraty's narrative. As he explores various approaches to healing, he discusses traditional therapies such as counseling and psychotherapy, highlighting their benefits and limitations. He describes his own experiences with therapy, sharing how it provided a space for him to express and process his emotions. Delistraty's exploration extends to alternative practices such as meditation, mindfulness, and yoga. He writes about the calming effects of these practices, how they offer a sense of peace and grounding amidst the turbulence of grief. He shares personal anecdotes of how mindfulness helped him navigate moments of intense emotion and how yoga provided a physical outlet for his sorrow. The chapter also introduces the concept of rituals of remembrance. Delistraty describes various cultural practices related to grief and mourning, from public displays of grief in some cultures to more private, introspective rituals in others. He reflects on the significance of these rituals, how they provide a structured way to honor the deceased and facilitate the grieving process. Delistraty's approach to healing is both practical and compassionate. He emphasizes the importance of finding what works for each individual, acknowledging that healing is a deeply personal journey. His advice is not prescriptive but rather exploratory, encouraging readers to experiment with different practices and find what resonates with their own experience of grief. Chapter 5: The Intersection of Grief and Identity. Grief's impact on identity is a theme Delistraty explores with depth and sensitivity. He writes about how the loss of a loved one can lead to a profound sense of disorientation, challenging one's sense of self and place in the world. The experience of grief often prompts a re-evaluation of values, beliefs, and life goals. Delistraty is particularly interested in the concept of post-traumatic growth, which suggests that individuals can experience personal growth and transformation in the wake of trauma. He reflects on his own journey, how grief has led him to reassess his priorities and find new meaning in his life. This process of growth is not always straightforward. It involves facing difficult emotions and navigating a complex landscape of change. In this chapter, Delistraty's writing is introspective and philosophical. He delves into the ways in which grief can act as a catalyst for change, prompting individuals to redefine their sense of self and purpose. His reflections offer a powerful reminder that even in the midst of profound loss, there is potential for growth and renewal. Chapter 6: The Limits of Grief. As Delistraty approaches the end of his exploration, he addresses the limits of grief. He writes about the potential dangers of becoming trapped in a cycle of mourning, where grief becomes an all-encompassing force that hinders one's ability to move forward. This cycle can lead to a sense of stagnation and despair, making it difficult to find joy or purpose in life. Delistraty emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and recognizing when grief has become a barrier to living fully. He discusses the value of seeking help when needed, whether through therapy, support groups, or other resources. He is careful to avoid offering simplistic solutions, acknowledging that the process of moving on is complex and varies for each individual. In this chapter, Delistraty's writing is both compassionate and pragmatic. He provides practical advice for those who may be struggling to move forward while also acknowledging the inherent difficulty of this process. His insights offer a balanced perspective on the challenges of grief and the importance of finding a path toward healing. Chapter 7: Finding Peace. The final chapter of The Grief Cure is a meditation on finding peace in the aftermath of loss. Delistraty reflects on his own journey, the progress he has made, and the sense of acceptance he has achieved. He writes about the importance of forgiveness, of oneself, of others, and of the universe, and how this forgiveness can lead to a sense of closure and tranquility. Delistraty also explores the concept of legacy, the idea that those we have lost continue to influence our lives and the lives of others. He reflects on how the memory of his loved ones shapes his actions and decisions, and how this connection provides a sense of purpose and meaning. The chapter is a testament to the enduring impact of those we have lost and the ways in which their presence continues to shape our lives. In the final pages, Delistraty offers a message of hope. He acknowledges that grief is an ongoing journey, but he emphasizes the possibility of finding peace and meaning in the wake of loss. His words are a call to embrace grief, to allow it to transform us, and to trust that, in time, we will find our way to a place of healing and acceptance. Epilogue: The journey continues. As The Grief Cure draws to a close, Delistraty's journey is far from over. He acknowledges that grief is a lifelong companion, one that will continue to shape his life in both subtle and profound ways. There is a sense of acceptance in his words, a recognition that grief, like love, is an integral part of the human experience. The epilogue is a poignant reflection on the ongoing nature of grief. Delistraty writes about the importance of carrying forward the lessons learned from loss and continuing to honor the memory of those who have passed. His words offer comfort and encouragement, reminding readers that grief is not a destination but a journey that, while challenging, can lead to profound growth and understanding. In conclusion, The Grief Cure, Looking for the End of Loss, is not just a book about dealing with grief, it is a deeply personal exploration of the human condition. Delistraty's narrative is a blend of personal reflection, philosophical inquiry, and practical advice. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a guide for those navigating their own journey through the darkness of loss. As you close the final pages of this book, you may find yourself feeling a renewed sense of hope and purpose. Delistraty's insights offer a roadmap for finding peace amidst grief, and his reflections provide a reminder that, even in the face of profound sorrow, there is always the possibility of healing and growth. The Grief Cure is more than just a book. It is a companion for those who are grappling with the complexities of grief and a source of inspiration for those seeking to find meaning and solace in the midst of loss. As you embark on your own journey through grief, may you carry with you the wisdom and hope that Cody Delistraty so generously shares in these pages. Read the book to learn more, and if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing to support the channel and stay updated on future uploads. Thank you.